So today we'll jump on to this text 3 of Shikshashtakam. So is everyone ready for it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yes,
so today is a very
Yes,
important topic.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, so yes, last week what was the quality we learned about?
Honor.
Okay, humility.
Humility, humbleness, Prabhuji.
Yeah, humbleness. So the text 3 we will once recite all together.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Trinadapi sunicena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniyah sada harihi. So Trinadapi Sunichena is something we have covered. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, that is what we're going to discuss. And one who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. So our aim is to reach this. That is, we should be always chant the holy name of the Lord. So in the second session, we stopped at our misfortune, like Durdaiva Midrisham Ihajani Nanuraga. So I have no taste for the chanting. And in the third text, we are trying to develop the taste so that we can have, the complete nectar, and we will keep on chanting the Lord's name 24/7, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So one of the quality which makes us enable to do this is humility. That is what we discussed last week. Now in humility, like, Venkat Prabhu, you have asked a question, like how practical it will be in our real world when we talk about humility. So I believe today when we are talking about tolerance, you will get better clarity about this particular thing, because humility and tolerance cannot be separated. It cannot be practiced individually. I think that is the reason they both come in the one text. So humility and tolerance. So today we'll begin with something called as the definition of the tolerance. And then what we will do is we'll move on to know whether tolerance means, is it passivity or it also involves action. And then we talk about tolerance in terms of chanting and planning our things. So then we will have a small story and then we will conclude this part. So beginning with the definition. So in Krishna book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so which is the summary of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in that in chapter 89, Srila Prabhupada gives the definition of tolerance as one's greatness is estimated by the ability to tolerate provoking situations. So here tolerance doesn't mean that, there is no provoking situation, that is why we are calm. No, tolerance means provoking situation is there, but still we are steady. So we are able to tolerate the provoking situations without just bursting out. So tolerance in a sense means calling off our war with reality. Now what does that mean? Now imagine, let's take an example. Suppose you are driving from, let us say, Hyderabad to Chennai, and in between what happened is you have taken a wrong turn and you have landed almost 100 kilometers away from Chennai. Okay, so that time what will be your feeling? You wanted to reach on a certain time and you were almost 100 kilometers away.
Frustration, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you'll be frustrated, you'll be angry, and you will be saying like, why did I take this turn, etc. and etc. So here what is happening is the reality is that you have lost the route. The reality is you are away 100 kilometers away from Chennai. But when you actually go for a war against reality, that means you're not accepting it. So in your mind, the frustration comes, anger comes, because you have more why it happened, than how now, what I should do now. So this is called as resentment. So that means you're not accepting the reality and you are just going war against the reality, saying why it has happened. So tolerance means you accept the reality and then you think about what I can do now. So similarly, in another example, if we take, suppose we are in a relationship with a person, then that person may not be behaving with us in a certain way or in a proper way. Then we get anger and frustration. Why this person is behaving like this? Why this person is not understanding? Why he is doing like that? So most of the times this why is not coming out to get an answer, but it is coming out because something I planned, something I imagined, that is not happening. Because of that, I am angry and I'm frustrated. Because of that, this why is coming. So here in this both situation, what is happening is the resentment is actually causing us the more pain than the reality. That means we are away from the Chennai for 100 kilometers. We are not happy in a particular relationship. But that is not the problem. The problem is we are adding so much of stress on that, anger and frustration on that. Because of that, it is adding more and more. So if we can see that, if we call off our war and we will say, okay, now this is the condition I am into, now how to go ahead from here. So tolerance actually gives us the ability to accept the reality and take course correction. Now, in another example, we should try to learn how resentment of reality often hurts more than reality. So, for example, we have planned an yatra and you all have booked. Let us say just a day before the yatra, that means Sunday we are going, and on Saturday you have got infected with the flu. Okay, and you have a fever and you have body weakness and many other things. So now, because of the flu, there will be definitely pain, there will be weakness, and you have to rest, and definitely so many other things you'll not be able to do it, which in general you can do it. But this yatra was planned and you could not go to the yatra because of this flu. So what your mind will do? It will say, oh, I have missed this yatra. Why I have to fall sick on now only? All my friends and relatives are going there and enjoying, and I'm the only person who is missing out. So what is happening is the fear of missing out and the pain of missing out is actually adding more and more to the reality. The reality is that you have a flu, you have fever, you have some weakness. That is the reality. But this reality is not hurting you, but the reality plus the resentment what you have added, that is hurting you more. So many of the times in our life, we will see that the situations bring us pain. The situations bring us some suffering, but actually we don't suffer only that much. We add so many of our questions and our anger and our frustration, and we start taking up it to higher level. And that is the reason whatever energy and time that we have that can be utilized to do the course correction, that can be utilized to solve, we actually waste it. Many times the most of the problems that come in our life are solvable, but because we don't consider the problems as it is, we add on so much of weight of resentment on that, we actually miss out the energy to solve it. And what happens? Now imagine you have 100 rupees to spend and the bill is 100 rupees, but 50 rupees you have already spent somewhere else. So how much is at your disposal?
50 rupees only.
Prabhuji.
How much bill you have to pay?
100.
100, right? So what is happening is the consciousness that was available with you to handle the problem was enough. But just because you have spent your 50% into resentment by asking unnecessary questions and unnecessary stress, you actually have only 50% at your disposal. So it is not that we all lack power to handle the problems. Actually, we lack in understanding that where our energy and time is going. If we understand that, then we will have good amount of consciousness at our disposal to take up our life. So what tolerance does, it will actually reduce the wastage of our energy. It says, okay, now this is the situation. Why it has come? Maybe this is not the right time to deal with that. Suppose we are met with an accident and we are just bleeding and we are going through the pain. That is not the time where we should start asking why this accident had happened or how this accident has happened. The point over here is we just go and get our first aid and everything done. And after that, maybe we can look back and think about why it has happened. So what tolerance does is we will go to the next point. That is, it makes us keep the small things small so that we can focus on big things. Now, most of the times tolerance is being considered as something passivity. That means, I don't like something, but I have to tolerate. So I'm not able to do anything about it, or I'm not going to do anything about it. So most of the times when people talk about tolerance, sahan karo, then actually it seems like, oh, is it a passive action? So we'll try to unpack this thing. So in 2.14, if we talk about Bhagavad Gita, There Krishna says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama payino nitya stam stitikshasva bharata. So Krishna is talking about tolerate Arjuna, and in 2.14 he is talking about tolerant. But in the 11.33, in the later chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, the same Bhagavad Gita, the same Krishna is asking Arjuna to arise and fight. So in second chapter, he's talking about tolerate, and in the 11th chapter, he's talking about arise and fight. So what is the difference? So actually, tolerance should be intelligently applied in life. Tolerance doesn't mean that we will let anything and everything happen in our life and we will not do anything. No, tolerance means we will keep small things small and we focus on big things. So in 2.14, Arjuna was bewildered whether I should fight or not. And he was thinking that after winning the war also, I'll not be happy. So he was in between happiness and distress. And Krishna says, tolerate the happiness and distress. But when it comes to the 11th chapter, Krishna is talking about in terms of Kauravas, you definitely have to fight because they have done a lot of atrocities which are not good for any people in general. And they have stolen your kingdom, they have insulted your wives, and many things they have done which are not right. And if you don't fight, then they will keep on ruling it and the atrocities will continue. So here, you should not talk about tolerance when it is the time to fight. So tolerance in our life also we have to apply intelligently. What I should tolerate and where I should fight, we should have a clarity. If we take the example of Srila Prabhupada also, when India, he was preaching, not many people were interested to take up Krishna consciousness. And he went to Sumati Morarji. Sumati Morarji is the patron who has actually sponsored him the free ticket on the Jaladuta, as we heard from Raghunath Puridas Prabhu also. So what happened? She asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you are very old and the America is very cold. So if you go there, I don't know whether you'll come back or not. So why you have to take that much risk? If you still want to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, you come to our home daily and I will listen to you. So here Prabhupada is not going in a sense like, okay, no one is there in India who is interested. So what I can do? So let me not go to US. So let me recite Srimad Bhagavatam for Sumati Morarji. So in that context, he has not tolerated because his purpose was not only ritually reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or just teaching. He wanted to transform people's lives and he was going on searching for the opportunities so that he can execute the order of his Guru Maharaj and he can actually transform the souls. So he has tolerated in India all the personal inconvenience, but he has not tolerated that people are not interested in India. So let me stop here only, or let me preach whoever is interested in India only. So the tolerance where he has applied, where he has not applied, is a very good example that we can learn from. So when the question of purpose comes, then the tolerance has to be subordinated. So every virtue, when we talk about whether it is humility or whether it is tolerance or whether it is truthfulness, that has to be subordinated with the higher purpose. If we don't have a higher purpose, what will happen is our mind can make small things into big. For example, if you are going for a meeting, a very important meeting, and in that meeting you are going to decide so many things. So you are going to finalize so many things. But on the way, what happened is someone knowingly or unknowingly had behaved with you rudely. And he has insulted you, said so many things, and somehow he spoiled your mood. So what generally, if we are not tolerant, if we are not knowing what small thing is and what big thing is, what our mind will do is, it will actually make us absorb in the insult. That means our purpose is to go for the meeting. But here, what is happening? After that person insults us, we are thinking about now how I will get back to him. Okay, so we are thinking about so many revenges fantasies like, अब की बार next time जब पड़ेगा ना पाला, तब मैं देख लूंगा. So here the focus is actually shifted from the meeting to the some small thing that had happened in the way. So what our mind does is it actually makes small things looks as a very big thing. Now we'll try to see the same thing in chanting. So while chanting, you might have experience that we get so many different thoughts. 15 years back, someone has given you Someone has taken 500 from you and he has not returned to you. That thought also will come. That means after chanting and before chanting, that thought was not there. But while chanting only that thought come. And some years back in some family function, someone has insulted you for some reason, and that also can come up. You know, that person has never asked for the forgiveness and he is thinking that he is right. Now, next time when the opportunity comes, I will also show. So many small things that comes up in our mind, those are very actually petty in reality, but our mind magnifies that and it shows it as the most important thing. That means chanting Hare Krishna is the small thing, but this issue is the big thing. How he can do like this, how he has to do like this. So we become the slaves of our mind while chanting because we have not developed the muscle of tolerance. So when the small things comes, if we are serious about every small thing, what will happen is we will have very less energy at our disposal to deal with the big things. So if we let every small thing matter to us, then what matters big in our life, that won't happen. Many times we lack energy to do big things because our consciousness is absorbed in so many small things. So today, if we are not able to do something big, we should see where all the small things are there, where I have invested all my energy. So if we actually figure out and if we start practicing this tolerance, then we will actually understand that, oh, I have wasted so much of energy for so many things that are not worth. So usually Kirtaniya Sadahari, why it is not happening with us is we are caught up with so many small things in our life. We know that, you know, chanting of the holy name is the most important thing. It will take us beyond this material life. All the acharyas, Guru Maharaj, and the whole parampara is talking about chanting. And still, when we sit for chanting, we generally don't have focus. And once the 16 rounds is finished, we will feel like the work is done. So we are not actually doing it for a, you know, pleasure of Krishna or in absorption in Krishna, but we are doing it most of the times as a ritual. Out of 16 rounds, some rounds go in proper absorption, but some rounds go as a ritual only. So this is one of the reason why we are not able to chant continuously. So when we talk about planning also, so what happens is, it is not that, you know, life is very certain. So when we talk about planning, so tomorrow I will get up at this time, I will do this chanting at this time, I will read and I will go to office, this. So many things we plan. But all that plans go just like how we planned?
No, Prabhuji.
Absolutely no, Prabhu.
Reverse.
Alright.
No, Prabhuji.
So what happens is life comes in the way. Some call comes, some assignment comes, some other thing happen, and everything goes for the toss. And what we generally do when everything goes for the toss, we actually give up planning itself. Whatever I planned, it is not happening. I have seen it few more times. Now I'm not going to plan. So we either do very micro planning or we don't plan at all. And because of this, what happens is we actually fail to understand that plans may fail, but planning never fails. For example, I have given an answer in our Q&A document about HTC, humble, traceable, and cumulative targets. So suppose you have a plan that, you know, every day 1 hour I will read Srimad Bhagavatam or any Srila Prabhupada book. So what happens? One day, 2 day you read, and the third day something happens and you could not read. And fourth day also maybe you could not read. So fifth day, what will be your consciousness? You know, I have so many things in my mind. I'm not able to do this. I'm not able to do that and all. So I will not plan like this. What I will do is I will read whenever I get time. So when I will read whenever I get time, practically means I will not read. So this is generally happens when we are planning. So in planning, how the tolerance will play a role? Tolerance means we will accept that life is not certain. Sometimes our material responsibilities are very high, and sometimes it might be little less or little relaxed. Like 5 days we work, so that time we may not be able to read 1 hour every day. But when it comes to Saturday, Sunday, probably we'll try to compensate those 2-3 hours that actually missed in it. So like this, we have to plan. So maybe every day 1 hour I cannot read, but I can have a target like at least in 7 days, I'll try to read 7 hours. So if you don't have a tolerance, what will happen is you will miss either to plan or Either you'll get frustrated and you don't plan at all. So this is something which you have to focus on planning. So we have discussed about how tolerance plays in our role in our normal actions and in chanting and planning. So before going ahead, we'll try to see one story. Okay, so here we have talked about Tarorapi Sahishnuna. That means Taror means what? Anyone knows the meaning?
That is tree.
Tree, right? So why the example of tree is given? Any idea?
Tree is very tolerant, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
Tree is-
accepts all circumstances.
yeah, it is accepts all
But it
circumstances.
gives the fruits
Yes, it gives the fruit.
without any
So-
self.
Yeah. So this actually story is about one of the Punjab king. His name was Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Okay. So it is being said that the Kohinoor was actually with him before it got, went to British and all. So he was the owner of that particular jewel. So one day what happened is a child was hitting a tree with a stone. So what happened is this king was actually going out for looking the survey and all. So then what happened, this child who was aiming for the tree, what happened is it missed and it has hit the king and it started bleeding. So this king was angry and he said, who is the person who has hit me with the stone? So the people around there, they told, he was the child. So then they said like, okay, bring him to the court. So they, the mother and the child goes to the court of the king. And the mother was thinking like, after this, I think my son is as good as dead because he has hit the king and definitely he's going to punish and my son is over. So the king asked the child, why did you hit me with the stone? So the child says, Prabhu, actually, I have aimed to hit a mango of that tree, but somehow I missed the target and the stone came and hit you. So then after listening to this, the king says to his minister, bring one basket of mangoes. Then they bring a basket of mangoes and he says, give this basket of mangoes to this child. So the minister says, what? This child has hit you with the stone. You have to punish him. Why you are giving the basket of mangoes? Then he says, if this child would have not missed the target, if he would have hit the target perfectly, the tree would have given so many mangoes to him. So he has missed the target and he has hit me. Am I worse than the tree that I'm going to punish him? So I will give what tree would have given to him. So I will give him the mangoes. So here the king is trying to be humble and he want to maintain the idol of the tree. He says that if the tree can give him the fruits even in return to the stroke that he gets from a child, then why as a king I cannot give him? So here why we say Tarorapi Sahishnuna, because the tree always gives. Even when someone beats, it actually gives the fruits. It gives the shelter to all. It doesn't see whether who is respecting me or who's disrespecting me. It always gives the shelter. So the ideal is the tree for being tolerant. But in our life, when we see for so many small things, we actually get provoked and we actually make the things worse. So what tolerance does is it makes us build a habit of looking at the things in the proper perspective, and it will make us enable to see small things in small and big things in a big way. And it will help us to absorb ourselves in Krishna and also have most of our consciousness at our disposal so that we can deal with the problems in the mode of goodness. So when we are not tolerant, we are handling the things in the mode of ignorance or mode of passion. But when we have tolerance, we will start handling the things into mode of goodness. So this is all about Tarorapi Sahishnuna. And when we are tolerant and when we are humble, we will start giving respect to each and everyone. And that will in turn makes us do Kirtaniyaha Sadaharihi.